So, at the behest of colleagues and friends, I was told to pick up a new character because Manon sucks. With that being said, I decided to casual mode a couple of characters. What I did notice is the fact that there are certain defensive strategies that a lot of people in both Platinum and Diamond like to use a lot, and in this video I'm going to be breaking them down and showing you how to counter them, and honestly, it's pretty easy. With that being said, let's get started. To begin this session, we're going to go over what you're experiencing and why it's happening, okay? So I'm sure while you're playing neutral, right, whatever, you're throwing out your neutral buttons or whatever have you, and you might go for a button or two immediately afterwards, right? Immediately afterwards, they're blocking all of your attempts, and what is happening is that if you go for throw, or even if you go into jab into throw, it's all being teched, and it's a very uncomfortable situation for you. Okay, so why does this happen? This happened namely because they're essentially putting a delay on the normals that they want to do. Okay, so what does that mean? So when they're blocking something, they're slightly delaying their option so that they get it at a later time. So what happens is that if you go button into button immediately, what ends up happening is that even if they try to press something and you press a jab immediately, crouch jab or stand jab immediately, they don't get any option. However, if you try to go for throw immediately, it gets teched. Even if you go for crouch jab into throw, it gets immediately teched. So adding that delay will allow you to get away with sloppy defense, as I put it. Okay, so how do you go about blowing it up? Now that we know the cause, we can apply the symptom. The answer to this is that we apply a delay ourselves, right? So if we know that if we go for button into button directly, they're gonna get that timing that they want, then all we gotta do is apply a little bit of delay ourselves so that we get the same result. So now they start getting hit for trying to press tech at a later frame. Okay, so if we want to get around it, we add a slight delay ourselves, because then if they keep trying to apply delay and keep going for throw, we can blow up the throw at the earliest frames. Now another way we can blow this up is if we try and bait it through walkbacks, right? Depending on your character, you might have a fast enough walk speed to do it, or fast enough walk back speed. Let me be specific here. Right, if you have a fast enough walk back speed, now we can start trying to blow it up in many different ways, right? By doing so, we now force them into a situation that makes them guess on their decision to try and go for a delay button. Okay, now let's actually talk about delay buttons. Sometimes your opponent, instead of going for tech, they might go for a delayed button, right? Now this is where my first option comes a little bit more in handy. Now the reason being is because, like you see here, you can't just walk out of the range. If they keep going for a delayed button, you can't exactly get out of the situation unless you want to just do something risky, like parry afterwards, or you want to try and do something ridiculous like super immediately afterwards, right? Obviously we don't endorse that, but it is an option. Okay, with that being said, using the first option that I mentioned will allow you to get around this issue a little bit better, because your opponent is looking for opportunities to try and press the delayed button, and if they're successful, then they can get a little small jab combo into DP, right? And then they can start their pressure from there. We want to deny this as often as possible. Another option when you get a little bit higher, this is more so for my masters folks if you guys are watching this video, the crouching medium kick, delay crouching medium kick. Now why they would go for this option is exactly this, right? If they notice that you're trying to walk back out of ranges to catch tech, they'll catch your feet trying to walk back. Okay, this is a similar situation for after throw. You try to bait something by walking back, and they'll press a delayed crouching medium kick in order to catch you. You won't find too many people at the platinum and diamond rank who are willing to do this, but this is something that I noticed a lot when it came to dealing with folks that are in the platinum and diamond range. They like to do this a lot. They like to try and get away with it. So one thing to note is the fact that if you apply a little bit more delay to their tech throws, what you can start to do is that you can start throwing in jump shimmies. Now, we use jump shimmies in the case where our opponent is applying a little bit too much delay to their pressure, right? So obviously we can still go for this pressure or this style of bait to get our opponent to abuse their delays, or we can try and go for the jump shimmy. Now, we have obviously seen a person go for the jump shimmy here and there in our time, right? But the thing is that in order to use it effectively, you got to know what you're baiting for specifically, right? So let's suppose our opponent is specifically notice that they're going for a crouching jab mash. We don't want to be trying to go for the neutral jump shimmy or the walk back shimmy, just because if we know that they're going to keep trying to delay mash there. If we know that we're going to continually try to delay mash, we use our buttons to bait it out, right? And once again, we don't want to be doing our strings a little bit too tight. You'll see sometimes where some of the pro players will actually super delay their joint so that they can get the real good delay, and your opponent tries to press or tries to mash on it, then they get hit almost every time, right? It essentially incentivizes our opponent not to try and delay mash or delay tech on a situation, so then we can start doing things like walk up throw or dash DRC throw. So one last thing that I would like to add to this video is the fact that we can also use delays to our advantage, not on offense, but more so on defense. I just want to go over it just so that you guys have a little extra knowledge there. So it is especially good if you have a crouching medium cut drive rush to try and go for something like that, especially if your opponent is trying to bait you. So let's suppose in this situation, I'm the Ken, I go for throw, right? I try to bait you into a button like so, right? By using a delayed button, I can then get away with this type of situation, right? That way, if they're just walking back, obviously you cannot walk back and cover your feet at the same time. So if we catch you walking back in an instance, our delay button will go ahead and catch them outright. Now, obviously, if they decide to go for a throw into like throw, you will only either A, get counter hit, or you will just receive an outright, nothing will happen, right? The whole point is to make sure that you don't get punish countered, and obviously you're not pressing it fast enough in order to get punish countered, so that kind of helps you in the defense game. You may get thrown once, you may get thrown twice, but the key here is to essentially go for the delayed button so that it gets you out of the situation, especially if you have a crouching medium kick drive rush. This is particularly helpful in these situations, right? When you have your down backing, you see that they're gone for throw, they gone for throw again. If the moment they try to bait you, either through walk back or shimmy, then we make the adjustments accordingly, right? If they're going for neutral jump, then we can go for either crouching heavy punch punish, or we just switch between crouching heavy punch, depending on your character, between crouching heavy punch and crouching medium kick like so. So you'll be holding down back, and then if you see them jump at you, neutral jump at you, you use your crouching heavy punch, or you can use your crouching medium kick. Now, if you're a little bit advanced, you can switch from that into a Shoryuken DP to catch them off guard, get the knockdown, and then get your party started from there. Or, you know, you can just keep it basic with your crouching heavy punch, depending on the character that you play, of course. I want you guys to start incorporating these things into your gameplay, because it'll definitely help you circumvent offense, especially when your opponent is doing something that I like to call lazy defense, right? If we know that they're going about lazy defense, we want to blow them up and we want them to hurt every time. Now, with that being said, comment down below what you think, and is there any other things that you're struggling with? Comment down your CFN. I do free coaching sessions. I'll take a look. With that being said, have a good one, y'all. Peace.